The number one player in the state of Utah, five-star wide receiver Jerome Myles, giving his pledge to the USC Trojans. Five-star kind of win for USC, but what does it mean for USC on a macro level? What are they getting in Jerome Myles? We will discuss all of that right here, right now, on this platform, the On3 YouTube channel, on this show, The Hard Count. So make sure you're subscribed here. It's college football season. We want you college football sickos that cover both recruiting and the actual games. When I say cover, the ones that you're dialed into everything from to the nth degree. Want y'all a part of this, so make sure you subscribe. We appreciate y'all in advance for that. Lincoln Riley now has yet another offensive weapon in this 2025 recruiting class to maximize his offensive system. There's a couple of coaches across the country now, whether it be Lincoln Riley, Kalen DeBoer, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. If you give them five-star ingredients when it comes to skill players, they will cook. 6'3", 215 pounds, runs a 4.4, looks like an absolute man-child right now as a high school student. Yeah, Lincoln Riley's going to be able to utilize Jerome Myles and his skill set. Also encouraging that he's performing at a high level against good competition. I mean, had an absolute day and a half against IMG. IMG, for those of y'all that are in the know with the high school football scene, it's essentially, to call a spade here, like an all-star team more or less when it comes to the talent they have. So Jerome Myles being able to ball against that kind of competition obviously projects well to the next level. Now, here's what I want to say on a macro level for USC, because anytime you land a five-star wide receiver, that's a great thing for your football team. More talent, it's a great thing. But on a macro level, when USC is really rolling, in my opinion, they have been able to shut down the West Coast. And over the course of the last few years, I don't know that we've seen that as much from USC, and not all of that's on USC. Some of that is to, a credit to Oregon in the way that they've been able to elevate their game. You credit the Arizona schools, and you credit, a lot of other schools in your, geographical recruiting territory. But at the exact same time, I don't know that we are giving the proper attention to what the USC brand is. This is USC. Okay, you think USC, traditionally, that's Heisman trophies, that's Rose Bowls, that's national championships. USC has been the destination on the West Coast before. Now, obviously, you got to recruit nationally. That's what college football is right now. You got to be able to go to the Southeast and be able to land premier defensive talent from all over America. I understand that. But, think about USC and the players from the West Coast that have gotten away from Los Angeles. Not Los Angeles in terms of that's where they went to school, but I mean just the West Coast in general that USC wasn't able to land. Chris Olave, he's from California, San Diego area. Rome Odunze, Las Vegas. C.J. Stroud, also California. Kayvon Thibodeau, went to Oregon. Bijan Robinson, Arizona. Bryce Young was, in USC's backyard, had him committed, and then he eventually went to Alabama. The point I'm trying to make here is imagine if even a fraction of those players I just mentioned ended up staying on the West Coast and going to USC. Imagine if USC, like I mentioned earlier, was able to just absolutely shut down the Best Coast and say, okay, if you are a top 10% player from the West Coast, whether it be Utah, whether it be Arizona, whether it be Oregon, wherever you're at, California especially, wherever you're at, you are going to be coming to USC unless we feel like we don't have enough spots or whatever it may be. I'm going a little bit, into a rabbit hole here, but I think what I'm saying has a lot of validity to it. There is so much talent on the West Coast. If USC can just put a fence around the West Coast and land more players of Jerome Myles' caliber from states like Utah and Arizona and things of that nature, they're going to compete not just for Big Ten titles. I'm talking national titles. There's that much talent. Again, you have to go to the Southeast. You have to go to Texas. All those things are true, but you, in my opinion, should have enough ingredients to compete at the highest level if you're able to keep the top talent on the West Coast home. And I think USC, for the most part, when they have been churning, they've been able to recruit nationally, yes, but also lock down guys like a Reggie Bush from San Diego, a Matt Leinart from modern-day high school. Those are kind of, I believe, the building blocks of what great USC football teams have been and will be in the future here, landing a guy like a Jerome Myles, again, from the state of Utah, the number one player in that state. So you land a five-star wide receiver, and this to me just continues to feel like an arrow pointer of where USC is headed. You land a five-star wide receiver, and that's just, again, to me it preaches trajectory. Because who did you land him over? We always talk about that whenever we talk about, a commitment reaction. Jerome Myles at one point was committed to an SEC school in Ole Miss. Jerome Myles was also considering Texas A&M, an SEC school. So USC now, to be competing with schools in that SEC footprint, I think that continues to send the message that USC now, in the eyes of recruits, starting to gain momentum, starting to gain more and more steam. So what's going to set this whole thing off? Like anything else, winning. Proof of concept. Showing that USC isn't going to be this school that finishes middle of the pack in the Big Ten, and they're going to have a fun schedule. You'll play the Ohio States every now and then, the Michigans and all that, but USC's not just going to play a fun schedule. They're going to win a fun schedule. They're going to be a national power again. That, I think, is the next step for them in terms of landing more players of a five-star caliber like a Jerome Myles. But again, five-star wide receiver, 6'3", 215, can go. Great after the catch. Great deep threat with his speed. I'm excited to watch him when he gets to Los Angeles. But again, a massive win on the West Coast for Lincoln Riley and company, keeping a kid who is backyard's a stretch, in their neighborhood, in their West Coast neighborhood, in their geographical territory, being in Utah, keeping him on the West Coast. Look out for Lincoln Riley now. I'm just saying. Momentum is a dangerous thing, especially if and when it translates to the field like it's looking like it's translating right now. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel. Let me know what you think about Jerome Myles taking his talents to Los Angeles. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling now. We will see y'all next time.